Okay. Let me holler at you people. How about it? Welcome to the channel. If you're here for the first time, click the thumbs up button, share it. If you like it, comment, all that good stuff. Let's get into it. How can you know if you actually can afford to retire? How much do you even need to retire? What is retirement? Let's get all into this, bro. First of all, I feel like to some extent, there is really no true such thing as retirement in the sense of how people expect, right? If you think about the fact that typically retirement means, not definition wise, but just, generally speaking, when people would speak on retirement, they talk about, oh yeah, I'm not gonna work no more. All right, let's be honest here. Your whole life, you ain't known nothing but work. You went to school, you went to work. It didn't matter how old you were since the age of at least 5, shoot, you were working. So let's be real with ourselves. Look at how many people end up retiring, quote unquote, and then they go back and start back working again. You look at people from any profession, you see this all the time. First of all, let me mention why this is. Why is it that so many people claim to want to retire or claim to retire, but then they don't actually end up stopping working? Well, first of all, they don't know what else to do with themselves. Secondly, everybody else they know might still be working, so they might be bored, and they like, dang, even if they really do have the money and they can afford to actually retire comfortably, they might be bored and be like, shoot, I might as well just get another job or something, or start another businesses, or helping build something with somebody else, because I ain't got nothing else to do. Everybody else is still working even though I'm not. And very easily somebody could get bored and lose their sense of purpose. So I think the biggest thing though that I want to focus on this video is how you can know if you can really afford to. Because one thing that I've noticed about the generation of people who's getting towards retirement, or they just got to retirement, they're not really as financially competent. Financial literacy sometimes is lacking in that generation. And of course, it trickles down to the younger generations too sometimes. So channels like this can help you make sure your life make enough sense for you. Thing number one, you might actually need way more money than what you think you need in order to retire. Why is that? Well, let's talk about it. First of all, the value of the US dollar is decreasing year after year after year. And that's any other money too, but specifically I'm talking about the US dollar because it's seen as the most dominant currency, right? It's the world reserve currency. Okay, so for the time being at least. Now let's think about this. Inflation is happening at 3% annually, which means the value of your $1 is decreasing to 97 cents every year. Okay, so $1, what can $1 buy you today? What a dollar can buy you today, a year from now, only 97 cents is gonna be what that dollar is worth, which means you're gonna be 3 cents short on every dollar that something costs. Now, this might not seem like a big deal until you start recognizing how the money compounds, okay? When the money is compounding, it's like, oh my God, it's decreasing not 3%, and that's it. It's 3% on every dollar every year. So very quickly, if you think about a 20-year plan, because when you retire, typically you expect to live another 20 years after that, right? Like people expect to live to like 80 years old, 85, something like that. All right, cool. So let's theoretically assume that you're gonna live to 85. If you're gonna live to 85, right? I'm about to pull out my calculator for you so you can see this firsthand, okay? If you wanna live to 85, let's say you're 65 when you retire. That means you need 20 years worth of money stacked up, and in order to comfortably be able to afford the same lifestyle, maintain the same lifestyle that you already got. That's not even considering upgrading your lifestyle. And you're also not considering, when you do that, you're not considering that you're gonna have more time on your hands, so you might start spending more money just because you're bored. You might want to go on more vacations because you got time now. You might feel like, shoot, I ain't got nothing else to do, might as well get on my favorite shopping website and buy some stuff, or buy some stuff for other people, all that stuff. Very easily people be thinking that they got more money than what they really have because they don't really understand how the math works. So let me point out to you how big of a deal this is, regardless of how young or old you are. Please recognize that if you think you need, for example, $80,000 a year, because that's about average. If you living off of $80,000 a year, and you need 20 years worth of money, right? Because you expect to live another 20 years after retirement, okay? That means you need $1.6 million, all right? Now, 1.6 million is not actually how much money you need, because like we said, that money is decreasing in value 3% every year, at least 3%. So right now it's worth 1.6. 20 years from now, it ain't gonna be worth 1.6. It's probably gonna be worth, of course, this is off the top of my head, but it might be worth maybe half of that, just because of how the money compounds. Because you got to think, it's 3% this year, and then it's gonna be 3% of that 3%, and then it's 3% of that 3% of that 3% as money compounds over time. So basically what I'm saying is 3, 6, 12, 3 years from now, you just lost 12% on your money, approximately. So very quickly, you can start realizing that you're drowning, okay? So what can we do about this? Now, if I just said you need 1.6, really what you really need is like $4 million. So most people would need, and I'm talking about people who are living a standard, average, mean lifestyle in the United States of America. So I'm talking about like a regular, normal, typical lifestyle. I'm not talking about even living frivolously or anything, doing anything extra or anything like that. So of course you need way more than $4 million if you want to really live it up and be able to buy gifts for other people and do cool stuff like the things that you never got the chance to do because you were always too busy in vacation, travel the world, etc. You're going to need at least $4 million, okay? Now, that being said, make sure that you're actually doing the math for how it applies to you, how much money you want to live off of, if you want to upgrade, what kind of investments do you have? Are you going to liquidate some type of real estate or stock portfolio when you retire? How much money is that worth? How much will it be in a few years if you're waiting? You got to be able to do math, bruh. It's like so many people are afraid of actually doing this simple mathematics to see if they're actually aligned and on track for where they want to end up. And then people act like getting older just snuck up on them or something. And bro, no, there's not going to be any excuses. And if you got kids, you don't want to be a burden to your kids because you weren't responsible enough to really recognize what you needed. If you didn't invest enough money, if you didn't take enough risk in order to get enough money in order to really be financially free. Because the truth is, you're supposed to, by the time you're ready to retire, you're supposed to be passing down wealth to them. You're supposed to know you good. You're supposed to be passing it down to the next generations. Like, supposed to be passing businesses, different streams of income, businesses, houses, companies, all type of stuff, buildings, in general, commercial real estate and residential real estate, all type of stuff. You got lots of options, right? Cryptocurrencies, etc. So if you don't even have any of this, what are you supposed to do if, say, you're like, oh crap, I just realized, being honest with myself, I ain't got enough to retire. I can't afford to retire. I don't want to be 75 still working my job. What am I supposed to do? Okay, now let's really think about this. If you're trying to make up for lost time, right, you have one option, and that's to start doing things differently. Generally speaking, you got to do things differently. Now, you do have a lot of options in that, sort of, but there's a couple things that you definitely have to do. One, you need to recognize where your money has been going, what you've been spending on to where you don't really have enough stacked up, saved up, or invested already. What have you been doing with your money? Every time you get paid, what do? Do you spread it out across savings and investments and emergency fund and expenses? Or are you one of those people who just kind of winging it? Have you been winging it for 20 years? Be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. Are you really making enough money? And if you're not, you're going to have to, one, probably get in contact with some type of person who could give you advice, like a financial advisor or somebody like me. Book a consultation with me. We just break it down and talk about it. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just somebody who knows how to do math. You know, so if that could help, definitely, I'm here to help. So let's think about this. What are your options really, though, if you need to make a lot of money in a short amount of time? For example, if you need to make way more money than what you made in the past 20 years in the next 10, what are you supposed to do? Higher risk, okay? You're going to have to shift your mindset. First of all, you got to start looking at money differently, because if you only get paid and then start spending money, you already ain't doing the right things with money, because money is supposed to turn into more money. You're supposed to leverage money to turn it into more money. You're supposed to leverage money to make money create its own offspring, if that makes sense, okay? So it's not supposed to be, oh, I just got paid, let's go shopping. Oh, I just got paid, let's cover these expenses. It's supposed to be, I just got paid, let me go ahead and invest this, aka risk this money, and get a return on this investment, whatever investments you might have. If you don't have enough ideas, believe me, get in contact with me. If you want to make some money, I know where the money is at. If you really want to make more money and you got some, come talk to me, okay? DM me on Instagram, email me. I am totally willing to network with people and get money with people, okay? That is something that will never change. So especially if you got a vision or you got an idea and you're trying to figure out how to actually bring it into a reality, all right? So don't feel like you're alone in this. Collaborate with other people in your network whom you might know in person. If you know any millionaires, for example, start asking them more questions. Ask them, hey, how did you do it? What are you doing? Or if you know somebody is way more than comfortable enough to retire, then ask them about the things that they're into. What is their mindset like? You got to pick their brain. You got to start asking more questions, and you can't be too prideful to learn from somebody, regardless of how old or young they are. If you realize you come across somebody who got some information that you could benefit from, make sure you get their time. Whether you have to pay them for it or not, bro, it's called investing. The most common factor with people who comprehend how this works, how money really works, investing in yourself. Okay? It's not just supposed to be just enjoying things all the time, as far as just like spending money on fun things. And now let me mention a couple of other options of what you have to do if, for example, you did get to the point to where you feel like you already got enough. Because a lot of the time people feel like there's nothing else to do but work. But let me explain something to you, because you know, on this channel we talk about spirituality and metaphysics and all the depths of the mind and stuff. Think about this. Do you know that most humans, really all humans, have supernatural abilities that they could actually practice and develop, like psychic powers and things of that nature? Do you think that's fake? Like, you ever heard of somebody having ESP, extrasensory perception, being able to see things in a place in which they're not even there, or being able to control their dreams, lucid dreaming, astral travel, traveling to other parallel universes and dimensions? Have you ever heard of people who could levitate or start fires with their hands, or any sort of like magical powers where they could move things with their mind, like what is it, telekinesis, talking to other people's minds, like reading minds, like telepathy and all that stuff? The lists go on and on. Don't you know that if you practice this stuff, you could actually develop these abilities too? Like, in your retirement, you should have plenty of time on your hands to be able to really get to know yourself internally, you know, spiritually, and explore just how special you are, you know? Now, that's just a list of a few things, but there's a lot of things you could get to know about yourself. You could start going to therapy and counseling if you never did that before, if you never did enough of it. Because believe me, we all got traumas that we need to explore and heal from and recognize how they made us into who we are. So don't sleep on that. Definitely go to counseling if you never have before and just talk to them. You never know what they could say back, you know? And considering all of the stuff that I done already said, the video actually cut off, so I actually said a lot of stuff on camera that didn't get recorded, which sucks. But regardless, look, bruh, you need to make sure that you're being honest with yourself about if you can afford something or not, if you can afford to retire or not, because you should really be able to fund way more than just yourself. You need to be able to fund at least one other person too. Like, for example, if y'all are a couple, right, and you know you got enough money but they don't, you need to have double the money so that you could take care of yourself and them. Because the numbers that I ran was really just for one person, and that's something to really recognize, because you need to hear this quote: numbers don't lie. Okay, you could lie to yourself all the time. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. The reason why they're saying the numbers don't lie is because when you're doing the math, you can easily calculate if you can afford something or not, or if you're actually going to have enough money, or the money is going to run out before something happens. So don't be intimidated if you go and you think, oh man, I need to make some investments, I need to do some things differently, I might need to sell something and stuff like that. Because we don't want you to end up down bad and end up in even worse shape after you leave your job. You're supposed to leave there gladly, whatever that career path was. You're supposed to gladly feel like, I paid my dues, I spent enough time here, I'm out of here and I'm never looking back. You don't want to have to go back or crawling back to them like, oh yeah, I actually need to keep working, because the whole time they set up the system where the people who own that company that you might work for, hey, they well set for retirement. They funding 3 generations from now and their kids and stuff. So if you don't even have enough to take care of yourself and your kids, then there's some work to do. Collaboration, like I said, work together, work with other people whose mindset is right, whose goals align with yours. It definitely helps if you're willing to put some money up though, because there's plenty of young people who are in their 20s and 30s and stuff. They got ideas, and younger too, mind you, but they got plenty of ideas, but they don't have the funding yet. They don't have the funds. So find a young person to pour into. Like I said, I got plenty of different ventures you could invest into if you want to for sure have something that makes sense. Hey, we can come up with a business plan together. You never know. If I feel like our ideas align together, we could go into business together. You dig? So just keep that in mind. So quick video, maybe not so quick. Share it. Send it to somebody else. You know somebody who's about to retire or who can't afford to. Make sure you share the video. Till next time. Holla.